What's good with YouTube? You already know. Big Flacco with a convict's perspective. I'm gonna smash, dash, slide on through with that little bit of energy. What's cracking, people? Please hit the like, comment, subscribe, do all things to help support this channel, and hit that bell notification for future fire content, man. And today, check this out. We're gonna talk about the Modesto case because today there was just someone sentenced today, man. One of the main shooters who pled guilty to the murder of three victims who was facing the death penalty at one time, right? Now, this hit was allegedly sanctioned by an NF member at the time out there on the streets of Modesto. Now, before there was ever the Goshen Massacre, there was this Modesto incident that's pretty major right here, man. Three people were killed, including one underage kid that was 16 years old. Beto was deemed no good later on by the NF, and I don't know the cause and effect. I think a lot of it had to do with this shooting, as well as a lot of it also had to do with some money issues as well, from what I was told. Okay. Now, anyways, let's get to this, man. So here's what we're going to go into. I'm going to read this article, and you're going to see a little bit of similarities. There's not no baby here, right? That was involved in this, right? But there was someone that was under 18. Okay. One pleads guilty to Modesto triple murder, death penalty trial postponed for co-defendants. At 3:40 a.m. on March 3rd, 2012, Joseph Luis Jericho entered an Modesto home with orders by a high-ranking member of the Nortenos street gang, killed the 18-year-old woman who lived there and anyone else in the house. Now, this wasn't a Nortenos street gang member. This was an NF member out of fucking TC. On Monday, Jerry Key pleaded guilty to murdering three people that night. 16-year-old David C. Bellis, 19-year-old Alexandria Teles, and 31-year-old Edward Joseph Rain. The 18-year-old woman who was targeted was the only survivor. Man, this is kind of almost similar to the Modesto incident, to where you know what I'm saying, the target was actually didn't get killed, man. She hid under a pile of clothes in the bedroom of her McClure Road home. She previously told the Beast she could hear Rain screaming but didn't hear Civilos, who was her brother, of Rain's girlfriend Teles. Rain had gotten out of bed and was shot multiple times at the head and torso. Teles, still in bed, was shot in the torso. Sieves, who'd been sleeping on the couch, was shot twice in the head. Chief Deputy District Attorney Marlissa Ferreira gave an account of the night's events as of the stipulated factual basis for Jericho's plea. The prosecution alleges that Jericho and co-defendant Armando Oseguedo carried out the murders at the behest of Richard Garcia, who had been dating the 18-year-old woman. About a month before the murders, Garcia and Osegueda were arrested in connection with a domestic violence case against a woman. Garcia allegedly held her captive for several days, beat her, choked her, burned her with a lighter, and threatened to kill her and her family. Osegueda allegedly helped bind her arms and legs with packaging tape. Garcia bailed out, and Osegueda had not been charged at the time of the murders. Both were rearrested shortly after the killings and charged with torture related to the domestic violence case. But it was nearly a year before Jericho and four others were indicted on 3 counts of murder and other charges related to the killings of Cibilos, Teles, and Rain. The other 4 defendants, Robert Palomino, that's Beto, that's the one that was running that area at that time as a regiment commander, Juan Jose Nia, Jose Asagueda, and Ricky Javier Madrigal, were accused of having ancillary roles. In the years following their arrest, each of them pleaded to lesser charges in exchange for the testimony against each other. So basically, they all told on each other. They were released from jail on their own recognitions, and their sentences deferred until after they testified at the trial of their co-defendants. All the defendants originally were charged with 3 counts of premeditated murder, with a special circumstance that were multiple murders, and they were committed for the benefit of the Norteño street gang. Special circumstances in a murder case make a defendant eligible for the death penalty. A few months after their arrest, the Stanley County District Attorney Office announced it would seek the death penalty against Jericho, Garcia, and Oseguedo. As part of his plea agreement Monday, Jericho no longer will face the death penalty, but instead will be sentenced to 100 years to life in prison for the murders. He also pled guilty to premeditated attempted murder for stabbing another inmate in the Stanley County Jail in 2014. The inmate, also a Norteño street gang member and murderer, defended at the time, was blinded by the attack. Now, that 2014 stabbing, man, that was of Joe Ramirez Travieso from Modesto, and that was sanctioned by Beto Palomino. For that, Jerry Cree, 33 will be sentenced to life in prison to be served concurrently with his sentence in the three murders. Under current California law, he will be eligible for parole at the age of 50. Cherokee is scheduled to be formally sentenced March 27th. As many as a dozen family members of the victims are expected to give victim impact statements. The trial for Garcia and Armando Asagueda was supposed to start this week, but the attorney for Asagueda was granted a continuance because he said his investigator and mitigation expert used in death penalty cases both recently quit. Thursday marked 11 years since the murders, but a new trial isn't expected to be scheduled until next year. For years, the families of the victims have expressed the frustration and anguish they experience waiting for justice for their loved ones. The system is not for those of us who are left behind, Rainey's mother said. It's for those who stand behind the bars and try to fight their way out of something they know they did wrong and they're trying to get off. It's not right. I don't know all the details about this case, but this was a pretty crazy case, man. Sorry, I had a few technical difficulties right there, real quick though. So let me go backtrack, man. So this case is almost like similar to that of the Goshen case, man, in which a whole house was targeted for execution. Now, I don't believe that the NF was behind um, the incident in the Goshen. Maybe someone in the streets, right? Whether he knew or he was reported afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as this issue with Modesto, this came from the regiment commander who been an NF member long enough that he wouldn't really need the jurisdictions probably to cross check to just to have something like this done out in the streets. So I know he was eventually expelled and deemed from the organization. I think he cooperated, but at that time, it was a whole different type of scenario and situation. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, this case was getting a lot of attention out there in Modesto, as well as this case, as well as the other one where I believe it was a girl that got killed out there on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Little got shot through the door, ended up killing a child. So at that time, Modesto was hot business at that time because of these home invasions that were going on, people that were getting killed. You know what I'm saying? And I think the NF at that time used these cases as a how you gonna say as a reference to not do because the attention they got from these hits was not good. And that's one thing about the NF you got to understand is they're not looking for any type of unwanted attention. You know what I mean? They have no problem catching bodies as well as any of these groups, any of these street gangs, but they don't want attention. Okay. Now, with this case, it's unfortunate, man, that the individual that they ended up defending and backing up already had charges stemming from kidnapping a young girl. She was only 18 years old at the time. And I believe, I don't know how old he was, but he was older. He knew better. The things that he was doing to that young female would not have been tolerated if it would have been reported and known. You know what I mean? So that's another thing that people need to look at, man. I heard that she was no saint. Um, she wasn't perfect. She had her own personal issues. I get it. But at the end of the day, she's 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? There's a better way to set an example than what happened. But that's not here nor there, or for me to judge, man. I'm just providing this content for you guys to look at this from different perspectives, man. Now, ultimately, everybody involved is pretty much no good from my understanding. I don't know if there's maybe one maybe that's still in good, but I know the majority have fallen off or fell out of favor. Um, and that's the unfortunate thing, right? Is as a youngster, because all these people were pretty young, you're falling under the direction and guidance of a NF member or a bro or a hermano, someone who's supposed to be seasoned in school and is supposed to be looking after on behalf of the gente. So you're making choices based upon what they tell you, right? So here you have these youngsters who are honoring what's being told. They're following their chain of command. They want to be out in the streets. They want to be out there mixed. They go whack a whole fucking household, and yet now they're in question for it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I see the similarities between this case and the Goshen, except for the Goshen one was way more treacherous, and there was a fucking baby involved as well. But at the end of the day, man, there's some similarities here. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the Goshen situation, why it's getting so much attention, was it was six fucking people being murdered. It was a baby was involved, right? And this is the first time you heard of like execution style, where a whole fucking Greek guy went in to go handle some business. Whether it's tied to the NF or not, that's not me to decide or know. I don't know have enough information, but it's tied to those that affiliate with that group. And like I said, I don't believe the NF would sanction any type of removals for those that are under 18. I don't believe so. You know what I'm saying? This one's a little bit different in Modesto. because apparently maybe you can sit there and say, well, the 16-year-old looked like he was 18. I'm not justifying it is what it is. And I don't know what their involvement is. But at the end of the day, man, this is like I told you guys before. What our opinion is as the outsiders, whether you're a low entry street gang member or fucking involved a little bit more, we don't make the rules. They make the rules. These organizations that run these operations on a day-to-day basis, they make the rules. So what your opinion is of a situation or circumstances doesn't mean it's always going to be looked at with the same lens, you know? So you got to take in everything and just evaluate it for what it is, you know? Because I always see people have a certain opinion about, well, this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to be. Nah, it's not going to be like that. I'll tell you straight up, it ain't going to be like that. If they want to go fucking start whacking old women, within all means, there's nothing that says that they won't. If they want to go whack someone's fucking mom, fucking someone that's an adult, there's no saying anybody won't do that. These are facts. But when it comes to children, no. That is one ground rule that, to my knowledge, unless things have changed, they don't go after anybody that's under 18, no babies or anything like that, based upon the attention. See, it doesn't boil down to what an individual may want to do or think. It boils down to the attention. You know what I'm saying? Now in the third world country, you know what I'm saying? Out there, Colombia, certain parts of Mexico, hey, no one's tripping off that. As far as it's looked at as far as through a negative light with most people, but no one's gonna fucking sit there and fucking crucify you. You're not gonna get killed in prison for doing that. The United States is a whole different ballgame. Now, if it was accepted, by all means, you think these organizations wouldn't go ahead and handle their business? Fuck yeah, they would. You know what I'm saying? Some of them would. You know, there's that saying, anybody can get it. Now, it doesn't mean I condone or support it, and I don't think any of these organizations support it. But the reality is this: we don't make fucking rules. You know what I'm saying? There's been people who've been cleared of other things, man, that you'd be surprised of, man. But these dudes ain't gonna get cleared on this. It's a wrap. Guarantee that. Anyways, man, I hope you guys have a positive, productive day. It's the end of the month, man. I'm out.